Canada have only beaten the USA 3 times in history. Sinclair has scored in 2 of those games, 4 months apart, in November 2000 and March 2001, the Algarve Cup game, which you were playing in but had forgotten all about, Julie, conveniently.
Yeah, I was like, I was not there. There's no way.
And Canada have never beaten the USA in Canada. They're very well aware of that and aim to put it right tonight. Here's Christine Sinclair on the ball straight away for Canada, playing in the all red here. It's a sellout. There's that much interest in the game in Vancouver. 28,000 in this stadium, and the roof is on. They did expect a bit of rain tonight. Frankly, there wasn't too much of it. Good atmosphere.
Great atmosphere, and this largely changed in this country, the support after that 2012 Olympics and that incredible semifinal match against the United States, which Canada ended up losing 4-3.
Yeah, that was a defeat which hurt the Canadians quite a lot, but of course the USA went on to glory at Olympic Games. A little bit of a mix-up there, allowing Sam Lewis to try to make headway. Playing in the centre of midfield tonight. She and Becky Sabron, the only players to start all 15 games this year. That's played up towards Alex Morgan.
This is going to be an interesting matchup with Morgan and Quinn and Zadorsky in the middle of that center back, because usually Buchanan is just battling it out, as so many of us have seen for Canada, but she's over playing, of course, in Europe and wasn't released, as you mentioned, for Lyon.
And here come Canada looking to make headway. Michelle Prince, who plays for Houston Dash alongside Carly Lloyd. 31st cap for her tonight. It is a strong Canada team, apart from a couple of their European-based players, but they have been boosted by the fact that Ashley Lawrence has come back from Paris Saint-Germain unexpectedly to play it right back in the team tonight. Zadorsky it was who helped it forward. Sinclair playing a bit deeper these days in a kind of number 10 role as creator as well as scorer. They hope so anyway. Lindsay Horan.
And a good start for Canada. So much of the talk around Canada has been this change in mentality. John Herdman said it yesterday. He said we have less players with the scars of losing to the United States, because it's a younger group who come in with a clean slate.
I think there's a long ball behind that Prince might be able to run onto. It was too straight and long, really, to cause a problem. The USA have staged 2 pretty big tournaments this year, looking for high-level opposition in the top 10. But that has resulted in 3 wins and 3 defeats against those top 10 ranked teams, beaten by England and France in the She Believes Cup back in the spring, and by Australia, who are very impressive in the Tournament of Nations. Did beat Brazil and Japan, to be fair, the USA in a dramatic game against Brazil, 4-3. Still trying to find the right blend moving forward. Yep.
Yeah, and I think a lot of that had to do as well with some of the experimentation, even not just with players but with formations. That She Believes was the 3-back experimentation that didn't go over very well. And I do believe you have to do that. This is the time to do it, and now Jill Ellis has said we're turning the page. We're going to lock in on systems, formations, pairings, players.
One player who's cemented a place in the team, no doubt about it. She's wearing the number 7 shirt tonight for the US, Abby Dahlkemper, who plays for North Carolina Courage alongside Becky Sabron. Seems to be a fixture in the team now. All the way through for Sinclair this time. This is Rebecca Quinn doing the covering. She's playing at the back because Buchanan isn't there. They like her better as a holding midfield player, so versatile as well as pretty good.
Yeah, Rebecca Quinn, number 5 for Canada, playing in that center back position, actually plays for Duke University and missed the ACC tournament. Duke ended up losing to University of North Carolina in the final, and she's actually going to miss her first round of the playoffs as well.
10 of the 11 players for Canada are based in the United States at the moment. Good run through on the right-hand side there by Lynn Williams, showing a really good burst of pace.
A great first touch here by Williams just to get in behind that defender. And this is, to your point, Darky, the pace that she brings to that front line, stretching defenses, is what Jill Ellis loves about Lynn Williams. She got in quite a bit against South Korea as well, and so she gets the nod in the start today on that front line.
Becky Sabran, so experienced doing the covering. Seen it all really with the US World Cups, Olympic Games, and been a fixture in the side, the Kansas City player. Looking to get these long balls in behind all the time. This one has caused a problem. That's well played by the goalkeeper, Elisa Naya. They're going long, aren't they, Canada?
Yeah, and this has created a little bit of a problem here. Drops in. Dahlkemper loses her mark there. But Nair, top of her box there to clean it up.
Deanne Rose, stopped by Casey Short.
We've seen some issues, too, of goalkeepers, the United States goalkeepers wondering whether they should come high, and they end up dropping, so that was well done by Nair there.
Canada do have 3 16-year-olds in their squad as well for this match tonight. Some of them very, very promising. Cut back by Janine Becky, the corner kick. Lindsay Horan to bring it away. She's a midfield playmaker wearing those luminous boots, the number 9. Dahlkemper across to do the covering. The US wanting to end the year on a high note. It's been a difficult year, deliberately testing. That's part of the policy of Jill Ellis. She says there's no point really wiping out lesser teams, 7-8-0, that kind of thing. It's proper tests are needed.
Yeah, and that's actually been more of the tradition in a post-Olympic years. Play softer teams, you're not getting against these difficult teams, and she wanted to change that. And you can see why. Test these players.
Canada in their first match since June when they beat Costa Rica by 6-0. Long break. The US have been much busier. Here's Fleming here for Canada. Right by Casey Short. Might be an interesting test of the US defense here tonight. And the goalkeeper seems to be the number 1 at the moment, Alicia Naya. Did she keep that in play? If she did, only just. It is, by the way, the first year since 2004 that Hope Solo hasn't appeared at least once for the US. Fleming looking for the 1-2 with Becky around the edge of the penalty area. Both teams just struggling to keep the ball. Here's O'Hara trying to pick up Lynn Williams. There's been a lot of misplaced passing early on in this game. A bit too much of it, really. I've got to say, Fleming in that midfield for Canada, already taking the eye, composed on the ball.
One of the teenagers, not the 16-year-old, but they have 6 teenagers on this team.
He did the right thing there, Kelly O'Hara, to take that ball away, because that could have been a horrible misunderstanding.
And John Herdman, coach of Canada, has to be pleased with this first 10 because the U.S. on their back foot. Canada looking more confident, holding the ball, pressing.
Yep. Yeah, a high press And sometimes they're not bothering to try to play the ball through the midfield. They're just trying to hit it in behind to cause confusion. Cut out by Quinn. It's knocked on by Horan towards Megan Rapinoe, her first involvement. Oh, off the inside of the post and away. Tremendous effort from Rapinoe. It wasn't the power, it was the placement.
And a quiet first 10 minutes for Rapinoe, but you're seeing she is just left wide open on the outside when Lawrence tries to step in, can't get to it. And the consequence of that is Rapinoe has some space to do what she does so well. Lawrence gets sucked into the middle, can't pick it up, and Quinn trying to defend there. Unlucky for Rapinoe there that she didn't get that one.
It's really good effort from Megan Rapinoe, who did score 2 in that 4-3 Olympic Classic at Old Trafford, Manchester United's ground, between these two nations in 2012. I might be a bit sick of the sight of her, really. Here's Sinclair looking for a dipping volley. Not a bad idea.
Sinclair coming from that deeper position. She's been playing in the 10 for her Thorns team, Portland Thorns in the NWSL. They actually said when she was moved into that midfield spot in Portland, it totally changed their team and the dynamic of their team. Portland, of course, winning the NWSL championship again for Sinclair's second time she's done it with Portland.
That's a loose ball again from O'Hara. Overhit is Deanne Rose, part of the bronze medal winning team at the Olympics. Most of this team are. Goals in 35 games against the USA. 41% of Canada's goals in that time.
We talked about Carly Lloyd and her role changing. Well, gosh, and who's going to fill that gap of production? Who's going to fill it for Canada? For Sinclair. 34, 36 in this next World Cup.
And she is on the ball again now. Good vision to pick up Nichelle Prince. Prince trying to work half a yard to the shot, but she didn't have a trick really to beat Sauerbrunn with. And I think she'd need one, in all honesty. Lawrence here. Good looking ball in again. It's well read, good defending. Now Fleming. Good ball that to Rose. And that one not quite so good.
Yeah, and she had Ashley Lawrence creeping in, that right back out on the wing there. Rose could have found her. U.S. struggling with that flank position when both teams are playing essentially the same system. 4-3-3 with the 3 tucked in the middle. Who dominates those wide flanks and can get players forward becomes critical.
O'Hara slides a very good ball to Williams. Couldn't quite cut it back enough, and I think the ball had gone out of play anyway, as fast as Williams is. Scored against Germany in only her 4th start for the US, Williams. There's the top 6 in the world at the moment. Australia are particularly good just now. You just wonder if this had been a World Cup year, whether they might have won it. They've got a whole team full of experienced internationals with over 50 caps, and they really did dominate that Tournament of Nations on the West Coast in the summer, beating the US 1-0 along the way.
They look so good, and then when you have a player like Sam Kerr dominating as she is, there's just confidence oozing out of that group.
Here's O'Hara, over 100 caps to her name. In towards Morgan Rapinoe. You could see the idea. I think they're just struggling to get the pace of the passes right on this surface, aren't they?
Yeah, and this is something that they've been very clear about. They don't like the turf surface. But I also think they're just having trouble holding the ball right now. Canada doing a much better job in these first 15 of creating a rhythm. And once this game settles in a bit, maybe the U.S. is going to get a hold of it a little bit more.
Sam Lewis winning the header. Rapinoe coming closest of all so far. I think she was the US's best player, pretty much beyond dispute, at that Tournament of Nations. Turned around the corner by Jessie Fleming. Canada beaten recently only by Spain. They're one of the up-and-comers of world soccer. That was in the Algarve Cup final in Portugal earlier in the year, and Germany. Here's Deanne Rose. And the quality of the cross, not quite what was required, really. Here's Rapinoe now.
Every time the U.S., even in their back third, Canada just pressing, getting numbers. Good recovery around the ball.
Rose. Back to Lawrence, the Paris Saint-Germain player. Played by Julie Ertz, who has the anchor role in that midfield. Hasn't really been able to get into it so far.
Rapinoe on the outside there, and here's the press from Rose. Korean trying to get out of it, but there's the pressure coming from Canada, and it's creating lots of problems for the United States right now.
There's O'Hara to Dal Kemper. And Williams making that run. Her speed is very, very impressive. She's had the old afterburners on once or twice tonight. Morgan again looking for Rapinoe. The old firm linking up there. A little bit of a conversation between them.
She said, "Do you want that to feed?" Rapinoe was like, "Yes."
It definitely wasn't that.
I don't want that ball again.
Megan Rapinoe winning her 128th cap tonight, and Alex Morgan 133rd. And fabulous servants for the US team. Here is Rapinoe now. Quickly dispossessing Deanne Rose down that side. Rebecca Quinn looking to hit it long all the time. This is obviously part of the thinking by John Herdman. He clearly thinks this US defense plays quite a high line and wants to hit balls in behind.
Every time Quinn gets it, she's looking for that slanted ball across and in behind.
O'Hara dispossessed on this occasion. Free kick, I think, for the US there. Marianela Cruz, by the way, is the referee from Costa Rica. Apparently this is a bit of an audition for her to see whether she might be World Cup quality. More about that later, maybe. Goalkeeper's come for that and made a bit of a fumble of it. Pretty nasty moment there for Stephanie Labbe, the Canadian goalkeeper.
Oof, this could have been disastrous for them. When you come for that, obviously you either gotta hold on to it or box it high and wide. Fortunately for Canada, it just falls right to her.
A few missed heartbeats there in the Canadian defense, and not least for the goalkeeper. Plays for Washington Spirit in the National Women's Soccer League. bit of experience in Sweden as well during her career. But normally that Canadian defence keeps her pretty well covered up. Nearly 20 minutes gone, and the closest we've been to a goal is that shot by Megan Rapinoe that bounced back off the inside of the post. Canada, a lot of high pressure from them.
And a good chance with this opportunity right here for the United States to actually, they were just over there organizing, talking. I mean, you take these moments as a player when you know in these first 20 it hasn't gone the way you wanted to say, okay, let's regroup here. Let's get back in this. Let's hold the ball. Let's get a rhythm.
Got a shot just now of Kaylin Sheridan, who's the #2 goalkeeper, who started the recent game against Germany. And the two conversations going on about the US, about the problems. I think she's going to be all right here, Stephanie Labbe.
Can't see much on that, but maybe when she was coming down there, yeah, looks like she caught her chin a little bit on someone's head there coming down.
It's adding injury to insult a little bit as well after that incident. Lindsay Horan chasing this one. Good determined work there from Shelina Zadorsky. Good defending from her. Can the US come up with anything from the corner kick? It's gone towards the near post. That did look deliberate. Julie Ertz has been among the goals lately, making that run to the near post.
And there's a player you have to get a body or 500 on set pieces, because she is constantly sniffing out that ball. Julie Ertz, so good on these.
Played a little bit longer here. She's got 5 in her last 6 appearances for the USA. Julie Ertz, including the winner, a dramatic one against Brazil. And the US came from 3-1 down to win 4-3. Is O'Hara. Collision there. Horan going down in the box, looks up to the referee and wonders if she was fouled by Chapman. She thinks she was. Chapman to play it forward towards Prince. Casey Short, who's let that run out of play. That's a careless piece of play from the left back, whose place in the team really has got a lot to do with her recovery speed.
Taylor Smith, who has been starting at that outside back position, dislocated her shoulder in the NWSL final, is actually back and healthy again, but just hasn't been playing much. May see some time for her tonight in one of those outside back positions.
Spinny Tobin Heath just felt a twinge of her recent injury. She was due to be taking part tonight, but can't. This is the first, by the way, of 2 games between these two nations. The other one will be on Sunday in San Jose. Rose Lavelle and Mallory Pugh, other absentees, both hamstring casualties.
Morgan Bryan, you could even add to that list.
Yeah.
He's just been out for so long, lingering.
And Crystal Dunn not released by her club Chelsea. Just to complete the picture. At the moment, Ali Krieger, Megan Klingenberg, both appear to be out of favour. It's helter-skelter, 100 miles an hour stuff, isn't it, this?
Yeah, and the U.S. just unable to have someone get on the ball and say, okay, let's breathe for a second here. But this is the pace that Canada wanted to push. And you can see they're brimming with confidence. I mean, this is a team that feels like they're on the edge of breaking through, and especially against the team in the U.S. that they haven't beat in 16 years. Their last win against the United States came in 2001, as we said.
Canada, 61%, USA 66% passing accuracy. Frankly, I'm surprised it's that high. Hasn't looked like that. Westwood, hold on, Morgan to pick it up. This time she tries her luck with the left-footed effort. It wasn't the worst, but always covered really by LaBay. Watch the Audi 27 MLS Cup Playoffs Eastern Conference Championship. First leg, Columbus Crew against Toronto. That's Tuesday, November the 21st at 8 p.m. Eastern on ESPN2 as the MLS season boils towards its climax. Already lots of stories from those playoffs. Would be a great story if Columbus were to win it, particularly with the particularly looks like they might be moving to Austin, Texas. All very controversial, big campaign going on to save the club and keep it in Columbus, Ohio. Save the Crew, that's the slogan, isn't it? And fighting a fight, all right. A bit of a shame because that city has been part of US folklore, isn't it, one way and
so
another
much
in this
history
game.
In that stadium as well.
Yeah. Here's Becky Sauerbrunn for the US. Cut out by Quinn, and then Alicia Chapman mopping up behind. Here's Janine Becky. So Jessie Fleming broken up again. Every inch of this surface being contested here. Short, and Rapinoe just slipped at the vital moment there. Done well to win the ball back again. It came off Julie Ertz up towards Alex Morgan again. Rose has underhit her pass. That's been the story really of the first half for both teams. Been an awful lot of pressure on the ball. They've worked so hard, and neither team can develop what you'd call any kind of real fluency.
Looks like the U.S. trying to get a little bit more rhythm, but then it just breaks down again.
I've got to be honest really here, Julie, that the passing from both teams has been shocking. let's not pull any punches. Sam Mewis. Ali Long, by the way, on the bench tonight. Part of the championship winning team, not very far from here at Portland. All of the Canadian team grew up in this area. Quite a lot of them were part of the Whitecaps system. O'Hara plays it forward. Morgan making it stick. Hardly time to blink, let alone think out there.
Just putting that pressure on where they just keep disrupting. It's the question of, can you keep that pace and that high press for 90? It's hard to sustain that, of course.
I think one thing you would say for the US here is they've known how fired up Canada would be for this fixture, and they've met fire with fire.
Yeah, and once you weather that, because this is an atmosphere that's so great to test how you deal with it. It's loud. It's clearly something that the U.S. doesn't get to deal with a lot away from home.
Not really cleared by Quinn. That's a fair old punch. Labe took the right decision there, really. She got some distance on it as well, which is key. Oh, Morgan here! 1-0 for the USA. Mistake in that defence, and Alex Morgan pounces. Half an hour gone. She scores her 79th game for the United States, goal for the United States of America.
And Canada just unable to clear it. And this is the beauty of a true goal scorer. Morgan, has been so confident as of late. Just needing half a look, knocks that one down, gets a little bit of a window. See a little deflection there on Quinn as well. And Canada's got to be upset about that one, because they really had a lot of the run of the play in the first 30 minutes. Couldn't get anything out of it. And here now they sit down a goal. But what a nice finish by Morgan, given a little bit of a window there.
Showed good composure, didn't she? The true striker. And there's been a change as well made here. I think Deanne Rose must have picked up a little bit of a knock, unless it's tactical. Adriana Leon, who plays for Boston Breakers, has come on to replace her. Ertz to play it forward.
Scoring for the United States.
Sauerbrunn. Hold on. Because it was Alex Morgan that got that 123rd minute winner in that Olympic Classic between these two. And they know what she can do.
That game, gosh. And boy, has it left a scar on the Canadians and the fan base here. That's all they talk about.
Quinn having to get it away. Helped on by Desiree Scott. Now here's Prince having to drop very, very deep, really. There's a nice bit of ball skill there from Rebecca Quinn, and she's found a good out ball too. Chapman wanted it played out wide. Here's the substitute Leon joining in for the first time. Let's see if Canada can respond. Ashley Lawrence. Takes on shot. That's a good ball in. Nobody to attack the near post. And she had a right to expect that somebody might.
What a good matchup that is. Ashley Lawrence, the right back for Canada, on Casey Short, the left back, of course, for the United States.
Nobody gambled, did they, for Canada there?
You got to make, that's the first run you make, right? You get to that near post.
Would have paid dividends there, all right. That's a spin on the ball, picked up by Jessie Fleming. Lawrence's ball in, looks a good one. Sinclair couldn't quite reach it. It's come out here to Leon. Trying the angled shot, that won't be a problem for Naya.
That's the right ball, though. We've seen Sinclair finish so many of these in her career. And a good sign for Canada with Lawrence getting active on that right side. Finding some space, because she's dangerous from that flank position.
Just changed the shape a little bit, I think, with that substitution. Canada pushing Sinclair a little bit further forward. And that may have been the sense of the substitution. Becky, that's a great looking ball in behind. Leon got something on it. The covering was good enough. Sinclair. And another block. I think that little tactical tweak is already paying one or two dividends here for the Canadians. Prince being pushed out to the right-hand side, and she wasn't sure of her bearings at all there, Alicia Naya. She was wondering whether that might just have crept in.
And Leon's been active on that front line. as well as Becky playing great balls in. What a nice ball that is. Nair getting on the end of it. O'Hara there to help her clean it up. And then on the other side over there, Prince trying to find that back post. No one there to crash for Canada, but a good sequence for them.
That was an impressive comeback. That's the best 3 or 4 minutes the Canadians have put together. Rapinoe looking to chase that one. She won't quite get there. That ball will roll on and roll on this surface. On Sunday, it's the World Cup European playoff qualifier. It's on ESPN News. It's Switzerland against Northern Ireland at 11:50 a.m. Switzerland 1-0 up. They won earlier on today. And then at 2:30, the Greece-Croatia second leg. Croatia look booked for a place in the World Cup. They've got a pretty good team. They're 4-1 up from the first leg.
And I like Becky in there in that midfield. That was the switch. She came back into the 10. Sinclair went high. Leone went wide. And she's been controlling and pulling the strings here for the last 5. And then you get the pace of Leone up front as well.
It feels a bit like something John Herdman had thought about before the game, that if we go behind, this is an idea that I'm going to implement. Free kick for the US. Gonna have to work for this one, the United States. It does surprise me, Canada have only beaten the US 3 times in 56 meetings and none in the last 31. Going all the way back 16 years, as you were saying earlier on, Julie.
This Canada tonight is not the Canada of my era. That's for sure.
Kind of underlines the point. We're going to have a little chat at half-time about the changing world order in women's soccer, which is very, very interesting. Canada are part of that story, really. And 1 or 2 other nations as well. Well, more than 1 or 2. It's O'Hara finding a good ball to Morgan, who's worked very hard up there tonight, trying to make things happen. And it's just a bit of a clumsy challenge that by the defenders, giving away a free kick some 25 yards out. I don't think that's a free kick.
I don't either. I think you just let that go. 2 players battling. Yeah. Just play.
It was a perfectly good challenge by Fleming. In fact, it was a good one, wasn't it? Lindsay Horan looks like she wants to take charge of this, hit it with her right foot. Lewis is there as well. Needs to be a good one. It is a good one. And the goalkeeper needing to palm that over. That was beautifully taken by Lindsay Horan.
And Horan's known to be able to put these in. Such a good goal scorer, as we saw in France, for the U.S. as well. And LeBay with a nice save just to parry it over. But the last thing Canada wants is to go down 2-0, walking in at halftime.
Rapinoe, goalkeeper came for that and then went back again. And that might have been a costly decision because Lynn Williams was closing in on it on that back post. Had the keeper in about 5 different minds there.
Going back to Canada's progression, I mean, Canada's always had good players, right? But they just never been able to string together a full team with depth. And that's what you're seeing in what Herdman's created. And a team that's playing. I mean, Canada back in our era was more Norwegian-like. Long ball, aggressive, athletic, but not a ton of technical ability. You see Herdman, they're trying to play. They're more confident. They have more depth.
There's an interesting quote he gave us last night when we were chatting to him after the training that he'd taken the players to dark places for a week.
Deep waters.
Deep water, dark place. Never explained what all that was.
All the adversity, he says, he wants them to overcome and grow together. He's doing some team building with them. And
sounded like a boot camp, didn't it?
He's known for that. I mean, you talk to the players, he never gives the same speech. He's always got different themes for different camps. He's quite the motivator, they say, and they you know, they're responding to it. They love him.
As a Newcastle fan, he just has to keep quiet the fact that he coached in the Sunderland Academy. Get away with that here.
I've lived with that pain as well.
Not back in the northeast of England. It's Lawrence. She's missed out there to Rapinoe, who had her shirt just tugged back there, which 9 times out of 10 ought to be a booking, frankly, because she just stopped the attack cynically. But I think the referee's going to let that go. There.
Yeah.
Ref's obviously in a good mood tonight. Rapinoe to swing one in, and she's well capable. Very good set-piece deliveries from Megan Rapinoe, usually anyway. And of course, the moment I say that,
you jinxed her.
Yep.
You knew that was going to happen.
I did. Plays for Seattle these days and leads the US on chances created this calendar year.
So Canada's thinking, we got to get into the half at 1-0, right? Or tied it. And it's interesting because Herdman has said, and he was quoted as saying, in the last 5 matches against the U.S., we've gone in at halftime either tied or leading, when he talks about Canada closing the gap. So how they react to this one will be another good test for them as well.
Four minutes or so from the break. Horan. O'Hara. Nice control from her. Velvet touch. And Jessie Fleming, who frankly has looked the best midfield player on view so far. Sinclair to help it forward. Prince couldn't control it. At a vital moment in the attack.
There's the handball.
Yeah. It's not one you'd give in the penalty area, that is it? It's an inch. They always make that distinction, it seems to me. It wouldn't be deliberate handball in the penalty area that close. Jessie Fleming. Leon the substitute. Sinclair. Leon helping it wide to Chapman.
First touch there just killed her a little bit, didn't it? Tried to catch up to it and then couldn't get her hips around it.
It's Canada these days without their experienced midfield player for so long, Diane Matheson, who won 199 caps.
She was a great player.
Yeah. Corner kick goes a long way, and then the header from Rebecca Quinn, not accurate enough.
And look at that look, wide open. She's going to want that one back. Pretty clean, really. Not a body on her, and these are the ones you got to get on frame, got to get on target, and hopefully it takes a deflection. You get something out of it.
Definite opportunity for the Canadians to go level there. Very comfortable on the ball, Rebecca Quinn, though. You can see why they think she might be a midfield operator. Here's Prince. Goes past Sauerbrunn and then overhits the pass at half-time. We'll look at the changing scene in women's soccer and discuss who might be the big threats at the World Cup. Some couple of years away now, under that. And we'll dissect this first half and Alex Morgan's vital goal, which separates the sides at the moment. Zadorsky, Fleming. Here's Desiree Scott, who's played 126 times for Canada without scoring.
I saw that.
For a midfield player.
I was like, is that a typo?
It really isn't. She wishes it was. Has other qualities, clearly, to won that many caps. Probably needs oxygen if she gets too far up the pitch, I think. Long-range effort from Janine Becky was a bit on the ambitious side from out there. Did get a hat-trick against Costa Rica in June. 6-0 win back in June.
What a nice ball in, though, by Quinn, just to find Becky and then release her.
She's doing better than a goal every other game for her country since coming into the team. Not bad. That's half-time. USA 1 up. Opportunism, typical opportunism, really, from Alex Morgan.